Medi-Cal Income Eligibility Verification System. Hello, I am Kevin Knaus, an independent health insurance agent in California, and I enroll people into Covered California and also through that application into Medi-Cal. And there are always a lot of questions about the income, how it's checked, and Medi-Cal is under the Department of Health Care Services. And they have released a letter back in July to all the county welfare directors, and the purpose of the letter is to kind of remind people about the income eligibility and verification system and to provide guidance for its use. Now, this isn't new. The counties have been verifying income of applicants for decades, but I suspect that now that Medi-Cal's back into normal operations, we're over the pandemic, so everyone is having their income verified. And also, there are new rules that are coming down from the federal government that may change some stuff. And so this is to sharpen people at the county level. Hey, you know, we need to go through all the proper steps when it comes to verifying someone's income. And this verification system process is triggered 3 times. First, when someone applies the initial application for Medi-Cal. Second, during the renewal period. And then finally, if someone reports a change in circumstances, like their income went up or they moved. So the letter provides different guidance, and it lists the sources that the county can use to verify income. So during the initial application, they state that the county can tap into the Employment Development Department to check on wages, because in California, employers need to report on a quarterly basis, the wages being paid to employees and the withholding taxes. EDD also handles unemployment insurance, and they know about disability insurance payments. So California is big in being able to provide information to verify someone's stated income. Now, there's also this thing about 40 quarters indicator, and a quarter that refers to being eligible for Medicare or Social Security. And if someone has accumulated 40 quarters of paying into the system, then they can be eligible for Social Security or Medicare. And of course, Medi-Cal needs to know if someone is eligible for Medicare. They can work with the Franchise Tax Board on assets, unearned income, and some people will say, well, assets aren't considered for Medi-Cal, and they aren't considered for Medi-Cal for Magi Medi-Cal, but they will be considered for non-Magi Medi-Cal. And then there are a variety of different kind of internal databases that the county can check on, the homeless indicator, and then the Social Security Administration. Now, Medi-Cal is focused on your current income, not last year's income that you reported on your taxes, but what you are earning in the last couple months, this month, and what you think it will be in the next couple months. Now, Social Security, if you or your spouse or someone in the family is taking Social Security retirement benefits, that will be current, and they can learn that. So that's one of the things they tap into with Social Security, and there's also the Social Security disability insurance payments. Notice that they're not really tapping into IRS, Department of Treasury information, because again, that's last year's data and sometimes even older than that. And if you don't even file a federal tax return, there will be nothing there. When it comes to renewal, they will check a bunch of other different databases in California. California Lottery, did you win the lottery? And then they do get into the IRS asset match. Again, that might be reported as someone reporting interest, capital gains, and dividends, which means there may be an asset there, and they may need to know about that for eligibility for non-Magi eligibility. Now, there is also Covered California, and Covered California is a little different. They have access to the Federal Data Services Hub, where someone, when they estimate their annual income in Covered California behind the scenes, they cannot see your tax return, checks it with the last filed tax return and the AGI to see if it matches. If it's within, I believe it is plus or minus 20%, then there is no income verification. But Covered California is focused on the annual income and estimate, not the current income. But there are mixed households in Covered California, meaning the adults may be eligible for a subsidy for private health insurance based on their annual income, but the monthly income isn't high enough, and if they have dependent children 18 years old and younger, they may be eligible for Medi-Cal. So that can be one of the benchmarks or items that a county eligibility worker will use to verify income is Covered California and the Federal Data Services Hub information. Now, we do need to remember that Medi-Cal is screening applicants for a variety of different programs. I know you may be coming in through Covered California and Magi Medi-Cal, or you're applying for extra help because you have Medicare, but there's all these different programs that Medi-Cal is screening for, you know, CalFresh, whether you're taking care of a disabled dependent, and there's different income thresholds. So we have to be cognizant that they're looking at a lot of different things, and not everything will apply to you and your situation. So definitely what we are generally working with is the Magi Medi-Cal that you can get through applying with Covered California, and that is based solely on your income, your estimated income for the subsidies, your monthly income for Medi-Cal eligibility. Then there is the non-Magi Medi-Cal programs that will consider your income for the Medicare Savings Program, the Extra Help, and in 2026, the assets to see if you're eligible for some of those programs. So there's a lot of different things that Medi-Cal is looking at. Now, within the letter, if you go through and read it, you'll see peppered if the income stated by the applicant and, you know, pops up in the other sources through California, if it is reasonably compatible, no verification request is needed. So they won't ask you to provide proof of your income if it's reasonably compatible. Now, they don't mention what reasonably compatible is within the letter. That's probably buried deep in another form someplace. But if it is not reasonably compatible, if there's some real discrepancies, they will send out a verification request. So if there's no match, if things just don't, you say you have, you know, $40,000 in income, but they can't find anything in the system that you have that, they're going to reach out to you and request that you verify this income for them so that they can properly determine if you are eligible or ineligible for Medi-Cal, or if your tax dependents are eligible or ineligible. So hopefully that gives a little bit of clarity to the situation. Medi-Cal is tapping in primarily to state sources for verification of income because that is the most current, and Medi-Cal wants to know what your current income is, not necessarily what you filed last year on your federal income tax return, because we know that can be very different when people lose jobs or they sell assets. So if you have any questions or comments, I will do my best to answer them. Otherwise, you have a wonderful day, and for InsureMeKevin.com, I'm Kevin Knaus.